I am Adrian from Rabona TV, and yes, I will be doing a video on the Super League this week. But first, as we do every week, we have to do the weekend recap. So let's do that. Let's take our brains away from the big dark storm cloud that is the Super League for the moment and try to focus on something else, like how your team did this weekend. Mine didn't do great. Let's go through that. Then I gotta get to work on another video for you guys. But first, Spain. Atletico Madrid took on Eibar, the bottom of the table club, and absolutely smashed them. As you would expect, this was an Atletico team without key players, like João Felix, Luis Suarez. But Angel Correa and Marcos, the striker Llorente, put in a great shift, scoring a brace each and helping Atletico to a 5-0 victory. Huge. They needed that for their morale. Sevilla took on La Real in San Sebastian and beat them 2-1 thanks to a 2-minute blitz from Fernando and En-Nesyri in the 22nd and 24th minute. They got those goals. He's taken his tally, En-Nesyri that is, up to 16 so far, and he may have cooled off a bit, but maybe he'll take a run at Messi, who's on 23 goals. But hey, you never know. Real Betis and Valencia played out a 2-2 draw in which Valencia had to twice show some character to come from behind to secure the single point in that match. Villarreal stormed to an emphatic 5-1 victory over the other Valencia club, Levante, as Levante kind of seppuku'd themselves with 2 own goals. Enough right there to give Villarreal the win, but Emery's side threw 3 more goals into the mix for the emphatic scoreline. Moreno scored 1, while Chukwueze got his first ever La Liga brace, which is surprising to me. And of course, Real Madrid actually dropped points in the title race as they played against Getafe, a very much rotated 11, rotated so much that Marcelo started in the left-back position, but Real Madrid didn't lose with him on the pitch, this time at least. They drew 0-0 thanks in large part to Courtois' heroics and goal, 6 saves from the guy, man of the match, a lot of unrecognizable names on that Real Madrid bench, by the way. Zidane brought in, the babies. Anyway, that draw means they fall 3 points behind Atletico, and with Barcelona only playing later, they could leapfrog Real Madrid into second with a victory. Still about 7 matches to go though, and look at Sevilla. They're right there in the mix. They've sort of quietly crept up on us. Oh yeah, and speaking of Barcelona, the second Copa del Rey final that we've seen over the last few weeks went down this weekend. Once again, Athletic Bilbao was involved after they lost to Real Sociedad for the 2019-20 final, and this time they had the unenviable task of taking on Ronald Koeman's Barcelona. There was an outside chance that they would do fine, given Marcelino has beaten Barca in a Copa del Rey final before. Also add in the fact that they beat them in the Supercopa de España, they won there. But with the rotten form that Athletic Bilbao have been in, it just didn't come off. They just managed to keep Barcelona off of the score sheet in the first half, but the floodgates opened in the second half, with Lionel Messi scoring twice, one of them a stunner. He's now scored in more Copa del Rey finals than anyone else in history, and Frankie de Jong and Antoine Griezmann scoring the other 2 for a 4-0 victory. De Jong and Alba were fantastic, each picking up a brace, while Griezmann had a second for himself, and a 5th for Barcelona ruled out in the 87th minute. And for Messi himself, this was his 35th trophy with the club. The only question remains as to whether they can make it 36th with the league title before Messi announces whether he's staying or going. Germany has been going crazy lately with the news, especially when it comes to managers these days. Of course, there was the Hansi Flick announcement, which we'll get to later. But first, there was the mid-season announcement that Marco Rose would be leaving Gladbach for Borussia Dortmund. And in the last week, it was announced that Adi Hütter, the manager of Eintracht Frankfurt since 2018, as he will move to manage Borussia Mönchengladbach. Bit of a merry-go-round going on in Germany. And wouldn't you know it, Gladbach and Eintracht Frankfurt played this weekend. Frankfurt, who are in such incredible form for the last few months, versus Gladbach, who have showed signs of improving but have been largely inconsistent in front of goal. And that's hurt their results at times. Well, they found their consistency in the battle of the outgoing managers. Marco Rose and Gladbach hit 4 past Frankfurt in a 4-0 home win at Borussia Park. After taking the lead in the 10th minute, the final 30 minutes saw Gladbach score 3 more to really give the teams in 5th, 6th, and maybe 7th even, some hope at catching Eintracht Frankfurt. And this is another example of results going awry once a manager's impending departure had been announced during the season. And the other side of the Bundesliga that had an announcement surrounding their manager, not a comunicado oficial or anything. but Bayern's Hansi Flick announced that he intended on terminating his contract at the end of this season. This right before important matches to see out said season. But Bayern fared well against what has been a fantastic Wolfsburg side of late. Playing away, Jamal Musiala was given the start down the left flank, and he had a record-breaking match, scoring his 5th and 6th goals of the season to become the youngest ever player to reach that number of goals in the Bundesliga at 18 years and 50 days old. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting, gave him the full name there, got the other goal, and while Weghorst and Philipp scored twice for Wolfsburg, Bayern ultimately squeaked by with a 3-2 win. Now, we're also going to do a video on this, but the Flick situation is an interesting one. The Bayern board announced on Sunday, just 24 hours after Flick's remarks, that they do not condone his actions in unilaterally declaring his desire to leave without the board making any sort of announcements. I guess they feel undercut. They acknowledge that he made the request last week, but nothing has been finalized yet. But yeah, watch this space. Union Berlin played at home against Stuttgart in an evenly balanced affair that saw Union ultimately win 2-0 on the basis of their first half goals from Promel and Musa. Trimble with a brace of assists for Union. The capital city club are looking to keep their European bid alive, and Europa League isn't out of the question just yet. Won't be easy though, with just 5 matches remaining. Union Berlin would need a team like Bayer Leverkusen to fall off once again, as Bayer Leverkusen won 3-0 this weekend against FC Köln, a team that is looking increasingly destined for the second Bundesliga. RB Leipzig's title bid took a hit this weekend as they were held to a 0-0 draw with Hoffenheim on Friday evening. Another hit to their title bid, I guess you could say, after their 1-0 loss to Bayern a couple of weeks ago. After going down 1-0 in the 14th minute against Werder Bremen, thanks to a Rashica goal, Borussia Dortmund stormed back to a 4-1 win by the time the clock had run out. Gio Reyna with the equalizer, a brace from Erling Haaland, his first goals in what was a 7-match run without any goals for both club and country, so he needed those badly. And of course, Mats Hummels got the 4th goal right at the end to put a nice little bow on things. Dortmund now sit 4 points behind Eintracht Frankfurt in the standings in the battle for top 4, while Bayern's lead is now back to 7 points over Leipzig. While there were some fantastic matchups this weekend in Italy, such as Napoli versus Inter or Juve versus Atalanta, some of the best entertainment came by way of Cagliari taking on Parma. After Cagliari went 3-1 down at home in the 59th minute, a Gaston Pereiro-inspired Cagliari stormed back, bringing the score to 3-2 in the 66th minute, and a flurry of opportunities later saw Pereiro himself equalize in the 91st minute, and Pereiro set up what was the 4-3 winner in the 94th minute. It was incredible drama and some much needed points for Cagliari in their bid to escape relegation. AC Milan made sure they kept the pressure on Inter this weekend as they defeated Genoa 2-1 at home. Not the most sparkling display from Milan, as it was a bit cagey at times and was extremely nerve-wracking at the end of it, requiring goal line saves from Tomori and Kjaer in order to see the result through, but they got there in the end thanks in part to an unfortunate Scamacca own goal. Atalanta and Juve was one of said fantastic matchups this weekend, and they played out an extremely even match. An even match that Atalanta was able to grab the result at the end of. Ruslan Malinovsky finished off a spell of overwhelming attacks from Atalanta, and as his deflected strike beat Szczesny and helped Atalanta leapfrog Juve in the standings and defeat them for just the 12th time in their history. Man, the free kick from Malinovsky in the lead up to that goal, stunner. I mean, the guy slipped and it was still arrowing into that corner. But anyways, after AS Roma took a 1-0 lead away to Torino, they woke up the beast. That is this team that is trying to survive relegation. To be fair, Roma's goal came against the run of play, as Torino continued to have a late season surge of form, and when they eventually got their equalizer, you couldn't say they didn't deserve it. And once they went ahead and scored a third, you couldn't say that those were undeserved as well. A big 3-1 win for Torino as they put 5 points between themselves and the drop zone now. Lazio beat up on Benevento this weekend 5-3 as they extended their form to 5 consecutive wins. Lazio went 4-1 up with 2 goals of their own and 2 own goals from Benevento before Benevento made it spooky at the end by bringing it back to 4-3 Lazio. Before, as they pushed on for an equalizer, Immobile punished them with what was his 2nd of the match and the 16th of the season. And finally, Inter faced off against Napoli in a tightly contested match that was low on the scoring opportunities. 2 teams that were playing excellent defensive football to the point that they snuffed each other out in the attack. Many of the best moments were, chance-stopping tackles from the likes of Manolas and De Vrij. The goal for Napoli was a funny one as Insigne drove the ball across the box. Handanovic half caught it. not securely. And with De Vrij racing back, it went off of his boot and in. Unlucky, but ultimately untidy from Handanovic to not get a firmer grasp on the ball. And Inter's goal, it was a beauty actually, as the ball into the box was semi-clear to Eriksson and he lashed it on his left into the bottom corner of the goal. 1-1 the final. Not a death blow for Inter, but it does end their winning run. Still have that 15-match unbeaten run though. And they still have a 9-point lead over AC Milan. With Atalanta's win, they jump over Juve into third, with Napoli and Lazio hot on their heels. Roma are still in the top 6 race, but they really do seem to love making it difficult for themselves, don't they? Not a ton of matches in England, as it was a bit of a, catch-up time with the FA Cup going on. It's going to be a bit of a weird week with teams playing on odd days, Mondays, Tuesdays, etc. On Friday, we saw Everton and Tottenham play out a 2-2 draw that will have left none of the supporters happy, as both of these teams continue to sort of stumble towards the end of the season. Not enjoyable stuff for either of those fans. On Saturday, we saw West Ham drop points, though they will be able to rationalize how they did so, I think. Craig Dawson was sent off after 36 minutes, 2 yellows within 36 minutes. And just 5 minutes later, Newcastle United were 2-0 up with a goal from Joelinton. Moyes must have really got the team going at half, as West Ham came out flying, and despite being a man down, were no doubt the better side, dominating the possession and the chances and equalizing through goals from Diop and Lingard. 2-2 at that point, but in the 82nd minute, Richie set up Joe Willock for the winner for Newcastle. 3-2 the final there. Wolves beat Sheffield United 1-0 as Willian got his just dues, his redemption for the goal that was called back last week at his expense. 1-0 as Sheffield United continue to struggle in front of goal. Arsenal fans would have been as annoyed as ever in watching their side struggle at times against Fulham and have frustrating calls like this one, which cancelled out Ceballos' opener going against them. Really unfortunate, as if he was a shoe size smaller, he would be onside. And wouldn't you know it, later Josh Maja converted from the spot for Fulham to put them ahead as they try to catch Burnley in the standings, only for Nketiah to draw Arsenal level in the 97th minute. God, what a frustrating VAR-ridden finish to that match it was. Oof. And Manchester United helped Fulham... Aww. I'm going to just finish this by voice because the camera battery died. But anyways, Manchester United helped Fulham out by beating Burnley 3-1 at Old Trafford on Sunday on a night when Mason Greenwood, well, not only did he continue his incredible recent form with a brace, but he became the joint top scoring teenager in the Premier League for Manchester United, going level with Rooney's 15 goals that he scored in his teenage years. Cavani with the other goal right at the death, as he scored in 3 matches consecutively for United, 8 in the Premier League so far, and 8 is actually the gap between United and Man City in the table now. 8 points with 6 matches remaining for either side as the top 2 pull away from the chasing pack now. 10 points separate second from third. And with the camera dying, it comes down to me, editor Adrian, to take you through the FA Cup, so let's do that right now. First off, there was Chelsea winning another big game under Thomas Tuchel, something that is sort of becoming a habit of theirs. They beat Manchester City 1-0 this weekend thanks to a goal from Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech, of course, collecting that pass from Timo Werner. Werner, again, showing how useful he can be in the attack, just maybe not in a finishing capacity as of late. Ever since his finishing dried up in around, I think it was about mid-November or so, where it started to go downhill from him, and he just hasn't been able to find his feet, in the finishing realm at least. He gets an assist now and then, he makes good runs, but my God, is this finishing ever poor. But anyway, this has become a beat up on Timo Werner thing. That's not what I meant to do at all. Chelsea really were happy to just sit back and defend extremely well, as they have been doing under Thomas Tuchel, and then try and hit Manchester City in transition. And that is basically how this match went. If this is sort of a preview of what we could have in the Champions League final, oh man, it could be a tough watch. I'm not sure who tweeted about that. I think it was Carl Inca or something, but if that's a preview of the Champions League final, I don't want that. I don't want to watch another match like that because it wasn't all that enjoyable. Chelsea, in fact, could have had more goals, but for some poor finishing. Another sort of trademark of this Chelsea side under Thomas Tuchel. Strong defense, but also the poor finishing. You got to take the good with the bad. And then, of course, in the other semi-final for the FA Cup was Southampton taking on Leicester. Leicester playing at home, and Leicester winning 1-0 thanks to Kelechi Iheanacho scoring another goal for them. Look, with Southampton, you're never sure what you're going to get. under Ralph Hasenhüttl, there's always a chance that there's going to be an upset, but Leicester going through was the most likely result, and Leicester going through was the result in the end. So we're going to have a final of Chelsea versus Leicester. Should be a good match. I mean, look, Chelsea aren't playing the most beautiful football these days, are they? But they're playing effective football, and we'll see if, you know, the attack of Leicester, Clichy, Iheanacho, etc., can match up to this Chelsea defense. But that's it for this edition of the Weekend Recap. Adrian, of course, cannot come back on camera because, yes, battery is dead. But I thank you for joining us. My name is Editor Adrian. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this was a little escape from the very scary news surrounding the Super League. Hopefully that doesn't come to be. But hey, we're going to start working on a video right away for you guys to get that out quick, so that you'll be all up to date. And hopefully I'll be able to answer a lot of the questions that you may have, some of the confusing aspects of what exactly is going on with the European Super League. So I'm Editor Adrian. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.